Are these truly the most popular pens in the world? If you spend any time drawing, illustrating, or even just noting down ideas, you know how much the pen matters. I have with me today what just may be the industry gold standard for fine liners, the Sakura Pigma Micron. I've personally been using these pens since I started my art journey several years ago and have built up quite the collection. Are they truly as good as everyone says? Why do artists and writers keep coming back to these? Let's dive in. First, let's talk about flow. The smoothness of the pen can honestly make or break the experience, and here, I think Sakura nails it. Whether I'm running a fine tip for sketching out a composition or running a 005 for super tight hatching lines, there's a consistent ink flow that feels almost frictionless. It just glides, especially when working on smooth paper. But more on that later. Even when you're working quickly or covering a lot of ground, you don't get those annoying ink patches or dry blobs. And for people who do a lot of line work or even fast note-taking, I think that's pretty important. And on top of that, the ink is archival, which means it won't fade over time, and it's also acid-free, so it won't yellow over time either. But my favorite quality about them is that the ink is waterproof. For someone who likes to do a lot of watercolor on top of her ink work or a lot of ink washes, that is a game changer. You don't need to worry about the ink bleeding or feathering into any sort of water washes. Once it's dry, it's permanent. I also don't have to worry about running an eraser over top of my Micron marks almost right after I make them. I don't have to worry about smudging, and that's basically the only pen I trust for this. You finish your line work, you lay down your washes or erase right on top of it, and the ink stays crispy and clear. If you're drawing for hours, grip fatigue is a real problem. So is your back when you're a little shrimp at your desk, but I digress. I think the Sakura Micron pens hit the sweet spot in barrel size and weight. Just enough heft where you don't have to grip onto it super tight for control, and light enough that you forget they're in your hand after a little while. The round profile and the gentle taper where the pen meets the tip means you can work without your hand cramping. I'd say the plastic barrel doesn't even get slippery when your hand is sweaty, which is a good thing, and the balance feels really good for controlled strokes. These are also super easy to take with you when you're on the go, and to fish them out of the bottom of your backpack. One of the most impressive things about the Sakura Micron series is the sheer range of tip sizes you get. If you're working with ultra-fine details or a marker-like strokes, you'll have a wide range to choose from. The Pigma Micron lineup covers everything from a 003, which is just 0.15 millimeters, just almost microscopically thin for that super detailed work, all the way up to heavier 10 and 12 point tips when you need a bold outline. And for anyone who does both writing and drawing, I think that flexibility is huge. You can switch from hatching shadows to filling in bold outlines pretty seamlessly. And it's not just the sizes. These pens come in a wide variety of colors, so if you're tired of the traditional monochrome look, these are your go-tos. As an artist who likes to work with a wide variety of options, I think having a green I can trust for like a tree outline, or a gray where I can fill in some shadows, and all of that without sacrificing line quality or the smoothness of the pen, I think that goes a long way. And for the science or note-taking or bullet journaling crowd, color means being able to organize your thoughts right on the page. Now, no product is perfect, and the Sakura Micron definitely has a couple caveats you should know about. For one, the finer nibs, especially the 003 or the 005 style, they are very fragile. If you press down too hard or drop the pen tip first, expect to see them bend or break. Another thing I personally learned the hard way is that the fine nibs do not last very long if you have a rougher texture to your paper. You'll need to sacrifice a little bit of fineness if you're using a paper that has even a little bit of tooth to it, such as watercolor paper. Since part of the beauty of these pens is their consistent fine line, damaging the nib is more than just a cosmetic problem, it will damage the performance and quality output as well. You might see your line work become fuzzy or inconsistent. And in my experience, and from what I've seen in artist communities, the thin nibs need a very light touch, so that might be an issue if you're working very fast or have a heavy hand. Cap design is another little gripe. The caps are pretty good at staying secure when the pen is closed, but as someone who likes to put the cap on the back of their pen when they're working, sometimes it doesn't always like to stay there. It can be a minor annoyance if you tend to work quickly or move around a lot, and if you lose the cap, the nib will dry out. So that's definitely something that I wish was a little bit better designed. Now let's talk price and value. Are the Sakura Pigma Micron pens expensive? Compared to standard gel pens or even other fine liners? Sure, but one or two pens certainly won't break the bank. You're getting pigment-based archival ink, waterproof performance, and a consistent flow, a wide variety of colors and sizes, and a design that stood up in both hobby and professional circles. And if you take care of them, meaning store them correctly and use them as intended, you'll get a lot of value for the cost. Still, if you're habitually heavy-handed or maybe you lose pens easily, it is a little more expensive. Some sets like the 10 or the 12 pack do save you a little bit per pen, but you still do pay a premium. But a premium? That may be worth it. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!